Derek Chauvin, the former Minnesota police officer who killed George Floyd by standing on his neck for 9.5 minutes, who is now serving 22.5 years in prison for that murder, pleaded guilty to tax fraud late last week, a scheme that he and his now ex-wife engaged in for years before Chauvin was allowed to kill George Floyd while on duty. This is what pisses me off so much about this. The probe found that the Chauvins did not file state tax returns for 2016, 2017, or 2018, and did not report all of their income for 2014 and 2015. When tax returns for 2016 through 2019 were filed in June of 2020, the Chauvins did not report all of their income in those years either, the complaints allege. Now again, he has pleaded guilty to this, so he is a tax fraudster. But those dates that I read, starting back in 2014, so 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, then 20. So for 7 years, 6.5 years, I guess technically, before he killed George Floyd, this man was breaking the law by not filing his state income taxes where he owed almost $40,000 to the state of Minnesota. Had this been caught sooner, had this probe not began the month after he killed George Floyd would still be alive and Chauvin would still be in jail, right? That's what pisses me off about this. This man, Derek Chauvin, is a criminal, and he was a criminal before he ever committed that murder. And had somebody taken the time to look into this, had the state realized, oh, wait a minute, this man hasn't filed taxes in 4 years. Maybe that's something we ought to look into. He's a public employee. Probably wouldn't have been that hard to see the red flags were there, and George Floyd would still be alive. But nope, he's a cop. Cops get away with it. Cops get away with it until, of course, they're at the point where they're kneeing on somebody's neck for 9.5 minutes. Then, of course, you got to do something about it. But a little tax fraud, 6.5 years worth of tax fraud taking place right under your noses, nah, don't worry about that. What's the worst that could happen? He killed a man because he wasn't busted for his tax fraud sooner. That's what pisses me off about this. I'm also pissed off about the fact that he was sentenced to another 13 months in prison, but they're going to let him serve that concurrently with his 22.5-year sentence. That's also crap. Add it to the end of it. Because had it not been for him getting away with the tax fraud, he wouldn't have been hit with the 22.5 years in prison for the murder in the first place. If you can't get enough Ring of Fire, we encourage everyone to subscribe to our channel for fresh video content 7 days a week. And for even more from me, you can follow me on all social media outlets, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @FairandBalanced.